Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, ManojWeb, where my goal is to make your front-end life easier. In today's video, we're going to be having a look at local storage in JavaScript and how you can use that to store data on the browser itself for some kind of form data that you want to keep there. And we're going to be creating a kind of fun application on CodePen to see the effects of local storage. So without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so let's get started. So as you can see on the screen, I have a simple form with an input of type color and a submit button which can change the background. What we want to create is an app where you can select a background color, click change background, and what it should do, well, not this, because we haven't had any JavaScript yet, so that's why it's doing that. So what it should do is, based on the color that we choose, let's say I choose red, it should change the background color of the whole body into that color, and then if you were to refresh the page, we wanted to keep that color, and that's where we will use local storage. So let's get started. I already showed the HTML in the CSS, so let's close the HTML. Oh, you know what, I'll keep it something like this. So in the CSS, I'm just making everything centered, changing the background to white, and adding a transition, input type color, just giving it a width and height, and yeah, it's basically just centering everything and adding some transition effects for some of the things, but there's not really much. What we want to do right now is first add the ability to change the background color when we click the submit button. So how do we do that? Well, first we have to get access to the submit button so we can know when we click on it. Submit button equals document dot query selector. So we'll select the form with the button which has the type of submit. And next we also want to get the color input so we can actually access the value of it. So we'll take an input with a type of color. And finally we want to access the body using document.query selector body. So now we have the three things that we want, and I'll set a variable called color because we'll be later storing this in local storage and we'll need this over here for then. So now let's add an event listener to the submit btn. Submit btn dot add event listener of type click. It'll take in the event that happens as its parameter and run this function. What we'll do is to event.prevent default. What this will do is stop the default functions that are already set in the background from running. So by default, when you press a submit btn, it'll refresh the page and reset the inputs, and we're just preventing that basically. What we'll do is color equals color input dot value. Let's have a look at what that is. So console.log color, right? So let me go open the console, clear all this. If I were to change the color to red, click change background, you can see it prints the hexadecimal for red. If I were to change it to blue, change background, you can see it prints the hexadecimal for whatever this color is. So what we can do is do body, not cbody, body.style.background color equals color. Simple as that. So now if I were to click change background, it transitions into black. If I do red, transitions into red. But if I were to refresh now, let me save this first of all. If I were to refresh now, you can see the background just disappears. We don't want that to happen. And that's where local storage comes in. Local storage is basically a local database which is stored within the browser's storage. So it's for really small apps where you don't want to connect to a big database. You just have this local storage which you can use to store some kind of info. For this time around, we'll be storing the background color. How do we do that? So what we can do is do local storage. First, let's console.log local storage to see what local storage actually is. Right? If I console.log in and I click change background, let's try that. You can see it's just an object. It's just an empty object. So what we can do is do local storage dot set item. We add the key. We want the key to be color, and we want the value to be the value of the variable color, right? So if I were to do that, change background, and if I were to click again, you can see the color is added as that. If I were to change this to red, it'll be that for now, but now it's red. So what we can do instead of console logging, we set it over here. Over here, instead of setting color to empty string, we can do local storage dot get item color. So this gets us the value associated with the key of color, and we can see if color is a truthy value, which means it's not 0 or null, so it's not a void value. What we can do is do body dot style dot background equals background color equals color. What this will do is, as long as color is in the local storage, it will change the background color to whatever it was, whatever the value is. So if I were to change background to, let's say, this color, I don't know what this color is, let me clear this, and if I were to save and refresh, you can see it maintains that color. And let's say I go to red, I change background, I refresh, it maintains that color. And if I were to actually do inspect, you can see the local storage itself. When you go to the, I think, sources, I don't really remember, it's been a while, but memory application, you can see local storage. When I press on that, you can see code pen, and let's see if I can find it here. Yep, right here. So we have the key of color with a value of red. If I were to change this to green, let's say, change background, and if I were to refresh this, you can see color with a value of this. And if I can change that, it seems. If I do that and refresh the page, well, let's make it a bigger change so we can actually see what happens, because right now I did not see what happened. So let's make that white, right? I'll refresh, and you can see the background is white. You can also change the value. You can look at the values and change the values on the on the developer window. So that's how local storage works. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have some ideas running around in your brain of how you can use that to create some cool applications. And make sure to subscribe, like, and share, and see you next time.